The Final Four, Chapter 19, Crispin Rice, 7:56 p.m. Crispin, sandwiched between a pair of rival Spartans, sprints towards the sidelines at full speed after a loose ball. His intense focus is split between the basketball and keeping his feet in bounds. The sideline is closing in fast, and everything surrounding the two pinpoints of his vision is a blur. The ball goes out of bounds off a green jersey into the Trojans' cheering section. Crispin desperately throws on the brakes. His sneakers drum the floor beneath him. Bop, bop, bop. Then the rock ricochets off the shoulder of a red cheerleading sweater and into the hands of Hope. Crispin straightens his body, fighting his momentum in order to come to a complete stop. The two are face to face now, with just a few feet separating them. The Superdome crowd erupts in applause for the pair. Then Hope takes a step back with the ball and loses her balance. As she's falling, Crispin reaches out and catches her. The cheers grow even louder as Crispin pulls Hope to her feet. "Thanks," says a flustered Hope, clutching the ball tightly to her chest. Before Crispin can respond, a referee steps between them. He takes the basketball from Hope and then blows his whistle to resume play. With the score knotted up 82-82 and everything in motion again around him, Crispin peeks back to see Hope being hoisted into the air by a guy on the pep squad. So we still have kind of like this awkwardness between Crispin and Hope. It's like what eventually that these two decide to do. Are they still together? Is anything resolved? And the score's tied up 82-82 at this point in the game. And now we have a flashback to March 3 weeks ago. As soon as Crispin finished his deliveries for flying sushi, he went back to his room at the athletes' dorm on Troy's campus. His roommate Aaron was there with Rocco, who lived in the dorm room next door. The pair had taken a break from studying and were playing Crispin's Wii. There were books spread out on Aaron's bed and on the floor of the cramped room, as the two stood in front of a TV, flicking the controllers tied to their wrists, tossing a virtual frisbee to a tail-wagging dog for points. "Hey, C. Rice, you okay?" asked Aaron, looking away from the screen. "You're all pale and sweaty, man, and I mean paler than usual." "Yeah, I'm all right," answered Crispin, wiping the perspiration from his forehead with the back of his hand. "Just a rough day at work." "You sure?" Rocco followed up, "because you look like you just ate some really bad sushi." "Some customer stiff you out of a tip or shut the door on you again without paying?" asked Aaron. "That stuff really happens?" asked Rocco. "Believe me, you don't know what you're going to get when you knock on somebody's door," answered Crispin a second before his cell started playing We Belong Together. It was a text message from Hope. Crispin sat down on the edge of his bed and read it to himself, while Aaron celebrated his pooch scoring a perfect 100 points for a leaping catch in the center of a bullseye. The text reads as following. "Question for you. Wonder what you thought I was really doing there? Cheating? Are you serious? Because as far as I remember, you're the one who proposed marriage, so you're supposed to have more faith in us. Trust me on this." Crispin didn't reply. I don't think I'll ever figure women out," Crispin said, deleting the text. "It's all about communication, man, just like hoops," said Aaron. "You think?" said Crispin, stuffing the phone down into his pants pocket. "Headaches from your job and your girl on the same day. What's that like?" asked Rocco, loosening the controller from his wrist. Crispin just shook his head and said, "Believe me, you don't want to know." "Don't sweat it too much," said Aaron. "It'll probably all work itself out." "I don't know. Maybe she's not the one for me," said Crispin, glancing up at the poster of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit models on the wall next to his bed. "At least these girls never turn things back around on you." "That's a big thing to say. You want to talk?" Rocco probed again. But Crispin's mind was somewhere else, and he never even heard the question. 20 minutes later, after Aaron had gone out for something to eat, Crispin was stretched out on his bed, staring at some world history notes. Heading for the open door with his arms full of textbooks, Rocco stopped and said, "Know what I like about you as a teammate? You got your eyes open on the court all the time. I'm impressed by that." "And how's that going to help me off the basketball court?" asked Crispin. "Don't close your eyes to what you see in you or anyone else." "What do you mean exactly?" "It's better to face stuff than pretend it's not happening." "You sound like you know something here that I should," said Crispin. "No, I'm not smarter than anybody about these things. I'm no James Bond 007 type with the ladies. But if you need to talk or anything, I'll be next door. I'm going steady with these books tonight," said Rocco, before he turned the corner into the hallway. The next morning, Crispin was waiting for Hope on the quad in front of the fountain and the statue of the Trojan warrior. He knew she'd pass that way for her 9 o'clock class in advanced economics. Hope was right on time, and she walked straight up to Crispin. "Listen, I'm sorry about our arguing last night," she said in a low voice, looking around to see that no one else was within earshot. "I hardly slept at all. Let's just get past it. I was probably as much at fault as you are." "Me?" replied Crispin in a bit more volume. "How do you think any of this was on me?" "It takes two to argue," Hope answered. "It always does." "So it was my fault for finding you in a strange apartment with a guy?" asked Crispin, appearing even taller as he shrugged his shoulders. "You know something? You don't talk to me. You talk at me. That's why you don't hear," said Hope, pulling her books in tighter around her chest. "I already explained who he was. Just let it go." "It's not that easy to forget. You alone with somebody else." "That's so insulting," Hope countered quickly. "If that's who you think I am, why did you ask me to marry you? And why did you do it in front of the whole world? To trap me so I couldn't have a chance to think about it? So I'd come off looking like a total if I said no?" "It wasn't it at all. It was about the moment," said Crispin. "Just tell the truth about that guy." "All right, you want to know the truth?" said Hope, stamping her heel on the concrete path. "Last night was really about you spying, about you not trusting me and trying to control me. I'm your fiancé, not your property. How about a little room to breathe?" "You need more room? You've got it," said Crispin, walking off. "Thank you," said Hope, walking in the opposite direction, "because I deserve it." So we still have no resolution here. Crispin comes back from his job the night that he caught her in the apartment with her supposed cousin's husband, and his friends ask if he wants to talk about it. He says, "I do not want to talk about it." And Rocco gives him the advice, don't close your eyes to what you see, and you or anybody else. So it almost makes it seem like other people aren't as enamored with Hope as Crispin is, but they don't want to, ruin his view of his fiance, so they haven't ever said anything to him before, but they're just telling him, hey, open up your eyes, realize the situation in front of you. And he runs into Hope the next morning, and she basically says, "I accept your apology, we're both at fault, let's move on." Crispin responds, "I'm not at fault at all. I just knocked on the door and you were there with another guy." And so they get into another argument. She doesn't see anything wrong with what she did. She tries to turn the whole situation on him and storms off. So again, she just is not coming off as a very nice person. And Crispin is confused and lost as to what to do because he really does love her. But how can you be with someone who acts like that?